Hello! Time has come to planting your seedlings. It's a very exciting period, but don't rush to plant them yet. There is a number of important steps that you need to do before you can take your seedlings to your garden and start planting them. So let's start. Before you plant your seedlings outside, which is a huge stress to your plant, you need to do something to minimize this stress as much as possible. So the first step in this would be to take your seedlings. I have tomato seedlings, but it's absolutely any seedlings outside for a few hours a day, so that they get used to being outside. Generally, if you grow your seedlings, they are grown at a very mild conditions in your house or greenhouse. So when you plant them, that's already a huge stress for it. So to minimize, you need to ensure that they are getting used to being outside slowly. So once the temperature is about 18-19 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees even better, take your seedlings maybe for 2 hours for the first day outside and put them somewhere in the shade. The next day you can take them out for 3-4 hours and so on, increasing how long they are going to stay outside every day. Also, of course, look for the weather. If it becomes very cold, that day maybe you skip taking them outside in order not to stress them out and not to damage them. When you take them outside, you need to make sure that they are not too hot and not too cold and protected from wind, and later you can harden those conditions. If it's too cold outside, don't leave them outside. However, after a few days, maybe a week of being outside, they should be ready to stay outside for the night. So before planting, I recommend for 2-3 days to keep them outside in pots in the place where you're going to plant them. In order to protect them from the cold temperature, just use cover, for example, like this agricultural textile. When you put them outside, just cover them fully, very carefully, so that they don't feel that much different in day and night temperatures. Of course, if you are buying your seedlings from a supermarket, then you don't need to do that, because very likely that they are already hardened. So if you're buying them from a garden center, from outside of the garden center, then they will be hardened. However, if you're buying them, for example, in a supermarket, it's not clear whether they will harden or not, so I do recommend you to harden them anyway. So do buy them a few days at least before you're planning to plant them. The second step in preparing your seedlings, especially tomato seedlings for planting outside, is removal of lowest leaves, and also if you have any flower buds. The reason for this, let's say first about the flower buds. The reason for removal them, and I will now very gently remove it. The reason for removal flower buds is because in the first days and even weeks after you plant your seedlings, they need to focus on growing their roots rather than growing their plants and seedlings. So they need to become well established before they can produce fruits, tomatoes. For example, if we look at humans, similar with the children, with teenagers, they need to first grow before becoming pregnant. Similarly, for the plants, they also should first establish, grow well, and only then start producing flowers and seeds. If you really want to leave it, then you risk that they will not produce such an abundant harvest, and at the end you will get less harvest than you would have. Second thing that you need to do before planting is to remove lower leaves. I'll just remove it now. here, for example. The reason for that is, first of all, so that when you plant it, you can plant it a little bit lower, so that the roots are deeper. The second reason to do it is that when you plant it, that the wind goes around and there is less opportunity for diseases to develop. And similarly, because of this also, the lower leaves are usually touching the ground, and again, it's easier for diseases to develop because all the bacteria and fungi that provoke the diseases are in the soil. So the less opportunity you have for them to go to your plants, the more healthy it will be. This needs to be done a few days before you are planting your seedlings, because you will have here open wounds which needs to heal before you can plant. So just take, like I showed you here, every plant like this, and you can remove the lower leaves and check if there are any flowers. This one doesn't have. Also, you see that these plants already start producing little babies here. Depending on what variety of the plant, of the tomato you have, you will need to remove them. Because most of the harvest comes on the main stem and not through those little branches. So you just can easily remove them when they're still small, so that the plant doesn't waste energy on producing extra leaves and focuses on growing main stem with the harvest. The third step before planting, which is about 24 hours before you plan to plant them, is to thoroughly water your plants. Let's see these two plants here. You can see that the soil is dry, so you can just water them. The reason why I recommend to do it is because then it would be easier to remove them from the pot. For example, this pot, I watered it 24 hours ago, so I'll just show you that how easy it is to remove the plant, the pot, without damaging the roots. I'm sure you found this video very useful, and if so, don't forget to leave plus in the comment section so I know that you enjoyed this video. I'm going to make a series of videos about seedlings, and my next video would be likely about planting the seedlings in the garden, so do subscribe in order not to miss them, and also check my other videos and playlists about tips and tricks in the garden. Bye.